right? So let's start by Dynex, right? There's a Dynex and there's a Dynex coin.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So Dynex is the actual company running the project, right? And then they've got their Dynex coin, which will effectively be the way that they utilize their system. The biggest thing that I've seen so far is obviously they're working on a solution for onboarding, which is perfect. They need a way to take normal, style money and have it converted on the fly by whether it be an exchange API or some kind of auto exchanger, right? So you pay in fiat, it converts it and pays out the miners. So they are slowly working on it, which is good.
And their main project piece of it is useful work.
Yeah,
right? It's rendering or some type of.
So the way that I understand it is it's 5% POW and then 95% proof of useful work. So, that's why it's so efficient when it's mining, and then obviously it'll ramp up when it needs to do useful work. And we've been slowly thumping it one step at a time. We broke 1 million chips quite quickly. We broke the 5 million chip barrier quite quickly. We're now up to 25 million chip barrier, which is where we've just recently got to. We managed to run it successfully for 11 minutes with enough chips to complete the task. When I asked it for a little bit more, though, yesterday, it was kind of a little bit worrying. We pushed it a little too hard, shall we say, and it sort of fought back a bit. So still work done.
Okay. So when you say chips, million chips, 5 million chips, is that individual GPUs? Is that chips on GPUs?
No. So their chip is effectively a simulated variable set that would work on their actual hardware that they're trying to develop. They're trying to develop their own piece of silicon, and we were chatting about this yesterday in the audio channel, and we were debating on whether it falls under an FPGA or an ASIC, right? So it works like an ASIC, but not with a bit stream, right? It's because it's reprogrammable. But it acts like an ASIC because it only does one thing, which is Dynex proof of useful work. So which is it? It's almost like a reprogrammable ASIC, right? But then that falls into FPGA again. So which one is it, do you think?
So could it be reprogrammed to use for something else, like a useful work outside of the Dynex platform?
No, I don't believe so at this point.
Okay. So it's completely proprietary.
Yes. Yeah, it's their own piece of silicon.
Okay. And right now you're saying that our GPUs that are mining, whether it's emulating work or useful work, it's emulating. I got you.
It's emulating what functions would be on their CPU. A bit like running x86 instructions on a 64-bit processor, right? There's that emulation layer that in essence does the same thing, right? Same principle with your GPU. The chips are, so it's working out how powerful your GPU is and then slicing that up into, think of it like miniature VMs, right? Loads of little Dockers that have got one little bit of programming that runs inside of the VRAM on the GPU.
I was just going to ask where that lives. It lives locally on the machines that are doing the mining. So it's not like it's pointing to their servers.
That's how they get it over 1x. That's how they get it over 1x rather than 16x, is that they preload into the VRAM. So therefore it lives on the card all the time until the job is complete.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually how they've took their approach compared to some others that have got X16 or X8 requirements, right? Because they're streaming to and from the card. Whereas Dynex has took this approach of, well, if we send it all into the card and then utilize the rest, then they only need 1x speeds.
So what all useful work is it completing? Like what kind of jobs is it doing?
So far they've got sat solving working. They've had that working for some time now. That's fairly straightforward and basic sort of supercomputer stuff, sat solving. So there's plenty of models out there that can test run their systems quite extensively. That bit wasn't so much what drew my attention. It's the machine learning side, right? Because if they can nail it for for the price sort of barrier that they're trying to enter in. Like, there's nobody in that price barrier. No one.